I think my obsbottailair review went over some people's heads. It's not that people didn't understand, it's just they kind of missed what it could do, and a lot of people, they compared it to like an Osmo Pocket. It's not even about that. If you're an extreme content creator who's studio based, then you'll understand a lot of the things that I was speaking about. It can really speed up your content creation. I want to take this in a different direction now, and I want to show you why I was singing all of its praises in the review video. And I want to show you how I turned this little obsbottailair into a multifaceted powerhouse. So I can go from a tiny discreet camera to a full-on studio camera that can transform depending on your needs. Now, I don't want you to compare this to an Osmo Pocket. Yes, you can vlog with it. Yes, you can do all sorts of things what the Osmo Pocket can do. But I want to compare this to the Sony Cinema line FR7. You probably think I'm crazy because the FR7 is basically an FX6 wrapped in a pan-tilt zoom camera. It does 10-bit, it has full frame, XLR, all of that. But once you put that out of the way, it's extremely close to the obsbottailair. Both the FR7 and the obsbottailair offer 4K files, remote shooting via PC apps, NDI for high quality streaming, or connecting to Sony's Visca for superior multicam system control. This means I could record a studio show with full 4K quality. I could do timeline edits at the time of capture, and I could manage a studio shoot all without leaving my bed. The Osmo cannot do this. Yes, the OBSBOT has its limitations, but used in the correct way, it can be extremely powerful. Could it be as cinematic as a Cinema Line FR7? Well, that depends. The reason I created this I/O is to have a full dedicated studio camera that I can take anywhere at any time without limitations. I can attach anything I want to this body and I don't need any extra stands at all. I wanted the camera to look as crazy and as insane as possible, just like when you look at an FR7 or a Ronin 4D. So I was speaking to Simon at Altcine and giving him the requirements what I needed and asked him to just go crazy. So he had full reign of the project, and yeah, what he did is absolutely fantastic. So let's go over the body. Okay, so we're going to go through this body now, and I'm not going to do it from scratch because obviously there's going to be a lot to get through. There's a lot of accessories that we've got to go through as well. So I'm just going to walk you through this, what we've got connected here. So on this side, you can see we've got the port for the headphone jack. Then we've also got a ARRI rosette that's embedded into the actual camera itself. So it's got the heat inserts in there and it's embedded. So this is really strong. Up here, we've got another 1/4-20, which I've put a cold shoe on. We've got another 2 1/4-20s with heat inserts, which has got a slim NATO rail. The same thing on the back here with a thick NATO rail. We've got the port that you can turn the power on and you can connect your USBs, whatever device it is you want to connect, whether it's the Ethernet, the PoE Ethernet adapter, or just a charger, or connect it to the PC. We've got a little power bank in here which can power the camera so it can double its runtime, or I can use it to power other devices. On this side, we've got a little port here, and this is going to hold the remote control, and I'll show you that in a second, because the remote control, we've made it detachable, so you can fit the remotes in here, they can go on the side of the controller, you can put them literally anywhere you want. Then we've got a another hole here, a port here, which has the HDMI and the micro SD card. And on the front, you can see we've just got the opening for the battery indicator, and we've just got a couple more quarter-20s at the front, another cold shoe here, and just a little tally light thing here. So yeah, we've got so many quarter-20s all around this. I forgot to tell you about this one for the cable hole. Really well thought out that you can put so much stuff on this. So the obsbottailair obviously just sits in the top, and then you just bolt it in from the bottom. So the small rig plate I've got on here is just a normal small rig with Arca Swiss, and it's the one with the feet. So you can pull the feet out. See if I can do this. And then that gives me a much sturdier base for when I'm sitting it down and I've got a lot of products on here. So let's start adding stuff to this and I can show you what we've done. So the first thing I'm going to add is a lens hood. Now it's just a basic lens hood, just in case I'm getting any glare. And then that will just slide onto the front here. And then what happens is once I've put the lens hood on, you can see it drops down. So we need to add a couple of counterweights, which is, I've just got a coin here with a magnet on it. It's magnetized at the back anyway, but if you just put the coin on here, it balances out the gimbal. I've also got a variable ND. Now, OBSBOT do sell NDs. They sell a pack of 4 for around £80 or so, but I wanted a variable just because it's going to be easier to work with. So just take off the lens hood, put on the variable ND, same sort of system, it's just a cap that clips on. As you can see, it's a lot heavier, so I need a couple more counterweights on the back. They just magnetize on the back. So yeah, so it just takes a bit of pressure off of the motor itself and kind of balances things out a bit easier, so it can, yeah, easier to work with. We then have a handle. Now this handle was made from scratch by Simon. I had this small rig piece and the shaft that goes through the middle that I had just lying around in a box from a broken handle. So Simon just designed a new handle to go around it. Now this handle goes into the Arri rosette here on the side. The Arri rosette can be used with different adapters. You know, if you want to put on an extension arm or something like that, you can just screw that on and then put mics on there or lights or whatever it is you want. I'm just going to screw this handle directly into this body now. So there we have the side handle put on. Next we are going to put on a shotgun mic. And I'll just plug that into the side here. And then you might have noticed these. You might be familiar with these. You might have seen these before. These are our customized panels from the Blackmagic Micro. So if I take one of these off, let's pop this out. And then if I want to carry any extra storage, if I'm doing you know, like a shoot and I want to hand it over to someone, I can transfer directly from the OBSBOT straight to my phone, and then I can plug this into my phone and transfer the files, and that can just pop in the side there. So if you need extra storage, you can do that. So that's only for every now and again use. Normally I would just have, you know, one of these plates in that says A cam or B cam or something like that. The next thing I want to talk about is my monitor, which is the VILTROX DC550. So this is the middle of the range one. It's a 1200 nit screen, so very nice and bright when you're out in the sun. Has a nice touch screen on there as well. Control knob at the side here. I like this one because it reminds me of the DJI Ronin 4D monitor. And yeah, it's just a really nice monitor. You can load your LUTs in it from the SD card. You've got your quick touch buttons, but I love the way that this monitor functions, and being able to dial in the screen as well is very important using the on-screen controls. And I like the way that this can show every single feature in terms of your histogram, your RGB values, and still get a video feed up in the top corner. Because when you're dealing with 8-bit, to have a monitor that's, you know, you can see everything, it's really needed. I also love the fact that when I flip this monitor, whether I want it to face myself or if I'm shooting from behind, this will automatically flip. So that was a big deal for me to have something like this. Thank you, VILTROX, for sending me this monitor. So there you can see it on the top there. So now you can start to see the rig is coming alive. The next thing I want to talk about is the ZHIYUN M20C RGB light. Now this is a 20 watt RGB light, and it's actually quite powerful to use this as a, you know, a key light, fill light, whatever it is you want. Mainly used as a key light for me because the brightness on the OBSBOT is really good. And all of the features that it does, you know, all the different effects and color changes and all sorts of things you can do, controlling it from a mobile phone app, it's literally the perfect light. But what I really love about this light is the whole system that comes with it. So first of all, let me put this light inside the cage. So I'm just going to open the cage here. Drop this in and then lock it. And on here we have so many different attachments. So we've got the normal light. Magnetically, you can put diffusion, a honeycomb grid, and barn doors. So it's the perfect light for when you're creating a little studio environment and you want to, you know, just to control your light a bit more. This is absolutely amazing. And that's the ZHIYUN M20C, and I'll put a link down in the description for that one. So I'm just going to attach this now to the back of the camera. I also have a micro HDMI adapter, because micro HDMIs, they're quite weak, but I understand why they've put it in an OBSBOT because it's, you know, it's a small unit. So when I want to plug this in, I can just feel it just on the middle there and then just push it in. And now this can't move up, down, left, right. It's solid in there. So then I can just plug in my HDMI straight into there and then straight into the monitor. So yeah, so as you can see, we're starting to get like a bit of a crazy setup now. But it doesn't stop there. We also have something special going on here. So let me just take off this front piece here. This isn't the extra one with the quarter 20s in there. So I can take this one off, and then we've just got a flat front. And then I will swap it out for this piece here. And now what this does is something really special. Slide this in the front here. Can anyone guess what it is yet? Put the glass in. We've got a little arm here. So I screw the arm into here in the side, and then goes on the lid. So the lid just slots into the top here like so. And then we have a teleprompter built into the camera. So teleprompters are useful. You do need one because they can help you to get your videos out at a fast rate, but having to buy one, it's very expensive. You know, even a small phone one, they're quite expensive. Then you have to find ways to put them on your camera, hang it off of your phone, hang it off of, you know, the tripod. So having it this way is a lot easier to work with. That's my phone open, the Galaxy Fold. Or obviously if you're just using a normal phone, you can just put it inside the tray. Yeah, and that just makes my life so much easier. So you can see how we've got a full camera setup going on here. So one of the last things I want to show you is the controller. So this is just a 3D printed body with a tablet inside. We've got a NATO rail on this side with just a little wheel handle connected. And then we've got a remote control. So this holds the actual remote control for the obsbottailair. Now, as I said before, with this little attachment here, this can be connected directly to the side of the camera, or we can have another one just on the controller as well. And then what this does is it just goes into the side here, then just clips down, and then you have a full control. So this is kind of like the DJI Ronin 4D controller, where you can control the device and, you know, see what you're doing, transfer footage, playback footage, all of that kind of stuff. But if I take off the monitor and then put the monitor mount on the back of the controller here, I can then screw it onto the back and tighten it up. And then what that does is it gives me like a little control unit. So if I've got this on a little ball head tripod, I can then control it like I would do with any other studio camera, like the ones you see from Blackmagic. Now, when you're using a studio camera, the movements and the zoom ins and zoom outs and pans, they look a bit different than a normal traditional cinema camera. And it gives you kind of more of that live feel. If you've ever watched a live TV show or some sort of broadcast, you can see that the broadcast cameras, they move differently. So that's something I'm practicing now and I hope to get better at. The obsbottailair, or IO, can record in standard 8-bit or 8-bit HDR. HDR is darker, but great for natural environments where you'd be better off lifting your shadows rather than fighting clipped highlights. As you'll see in a studio example, I clipped the lamp because the lamp wasn't dimmable. It's not perfect, there's a few things that I would change, but I'm very pleased with the results.
So here at Nadine's Nature, we do bespoke facials, but we also do skin rejuvenation aesthetic facials as well. And I'd like to share with you my favorite, the MA Dr. Pen microneedling. This is very popular to stimulate collagen growth and to reduce fine lines and wrinkles, as well as the appearance of scarring, blemishes, and pigmented skin. It's very popular here at Nadine's Nature for the aesthetics facials.
If you have an FX3, it's quite easy to match the OBSBOT to the Sony. It would be difficult to do a deep grade on the OBSBOT, but using the Sony and the OBSBOT together, as long as you don't push the OBSBOT, it can be absolutely fine. So that's it. That's my look at the OBSBOTAIR and the IO, the all-in-one studio. Now, my next goal is to grab a few more of these OBSBOT and to make a full studio setup. I want to put these inside a studio. If clients come into the studio, I can actually man the whole thing from home using Visca or some sort of OBS software. I don't even have to leave my house, and that's the goal I want to get to. Absolutely fantastic little machines, and yeah, maybe, you know, comparing it to a Sony FR7 was a bit wild, but now that you've seen the connectivity and what it can do, controlling it from a control deck, you will understand how powerful the OBSBOTAIR really is. Take care guys, I'll see you on the next one. Later.